Everyone, we are live here. Pete Winiarski, founder and CEO of Win Enterprises LLC, and I just wanted to get you in this mode, this frame of mind where you can start really making a difference for you and your business, and it extends beyond just you and your team and your customers and your clients. It also is your family, and how you do what you do really matters. So you'll catch us here on the More Revenue, More Profit Facebook page. This is the primary place where we are. And of course, we are simulcasting right now to our YouTube channel and to our Pete Winiarski page, and we put this up on our podcast, many of them anyways, so you may find it there. Business Results Radio is the podcast, but certainly the best place to be to ask us questions, to get help, to just get engagement from the other members, is to show up to that More Revenue, More Profit Facebook group. So facebook.com/groups, something, More Revenue, More Profit. That's where you want to end up. Or go to the site, more revenue, more profit.com. You can go there as well. So today we're talking about this whole concept of, working remotely is kind of a pain in the butt, but it doesn't have to be. Working is now different than it was, and we're all starting to adjust. But some of us have just been muscling through. You've heard me talk when we wrote the book Virtual Teams That Thrive. That was one of the things that we've got some good content in there about the challenges of your physical space and how important it is to have a strong Wi-Fi signal and to have all that stuff working for you. Well, now you got schools back, right? School just started up again. My son went to school yesterday. It's day number 2. He actually had homework yesterday that he did. And, of course, when I left the house this morning, after some meetings at home, I took it home, and I came in here to the office. He was plunked down in the dining room with, his school headphones on, school computer, off we go. So that's our reality. So today I brought in a friend, as a guest. He is a friend, a client. His name is Mark LeBlanc. Let me add him to the stream. Here we go. Mark,
hi, everybody.
Welcome. So this is Mark LeBlanc from LeBlanc Tech Services. And Mark, you, what's amazing about you is you've managed to make all of these challenges that we have in our homes with tech actually quite simple. And would you agree that's sort of a superhero gift that you have for the world?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not voodoo, but yeah, we'll explain more later.
Yeah, exactly right. And here's the thing, folks. I mean, if you're listening, here's a situation where you're not trusting your Wi-Fi, your video call freezes, your TV buffers. The kids are screaming because they're going crazy because they're on their phone trying to do something, and the internet just went out. Those things are the things that, Mark, you just solve magically for people. Say more about how you do what you do.
Well, it's not really magic. I see the same things, day in and day out. I used to be a cable tech, and I was a guy that after they sent 6 or 7 texts there, I would go and fix the problem pretty quickly get it done. And, I didn't like that because when I got there, all the customers were thoroughly upset already, and it was always the same ridiculous things all the time. And then, I kind of dug into it because that's how my gears start turning. And I'm like, why is it this? Why is it that, So I found it's just a combination of things, most of it is, and then there's also, everybody kind of can understand the concept because they've tried to upgrade their internet speed and it hasn't worked. So you can get gig speed internet, and it doesn't work. I personally at my house only run the 100 megabit service, and I have 8 people living here. Mm-hmm. The reason for that is taking all the noise out of the line, or as much as you can, cleaning up the signal. I always tell people internet travels in packets, and I think of it as like a deck of cards. If you lose 1 or 2 cards, you're throwing away the whole deck. So you don't want to lose any cards, because then what will happen is it'll just keep trying to resend the information. and every time it loses it. So I thought about ways I could solve that, and then I started putting it to work, and then it kind of went from there.
Yeah, I mean, and the impact you have is pretty amazing. And I'll speak from my own personal experience. And if you've been listening and following me on these Facebook Lives for a while, you'll know that a few months ago I had some examples. I actually went over to my dry erase board and started scribbling like what was going on. And you kind of eliminated excuse after excuse after excuse, not your excuse, not my excuse, but the Comcast excuse. And I'm not here to throw Comcast under the bus. It's just they happen to be my internet service provider. And the way that everything was wired around the house, all these things were, I was paying for 100, as you just pointed out, that's what you pay for, but I was getting between 6 and 30. Like, how do you pay for 100 and only get 6? And now the great news is I pay for what I pay for and I get what I get, right? That's the best news.
Yeah, and that just came from, your house had a lot of issues that, honestly, they should have been addressed, long before we found them, and then they turned into much bigger issues. You had a lot of, you had poor wiring, you had, improper equipment for what you needed. And I think actually when I first met you, you were paying for more than 100. I thought you were paying for 200 or 300.
Yeah.
And only getting, 3 to 30.
Right.
So, I mean, but that's what people don't understand, or, what the people, I don't blame the customer service reps either that are dealing with it, because their job is to, do what they can to try to solve. Their go-to is, put more juice in the line and, try to fix it that way. But, if the capabilities of your line can only reach a certain threshold, no matter how much juice you put on the other end, it's not going to translate.
It's like having, here's another 46 card deck. Try this and it doesn't work.
Yeah, try to throw down the queen of clubs, putting more cards, and you know what I mean? Like, unless it's another queen of clubs, it's not going to work.
So, here's a situation then, Mark. Obviously my story is probably not that unique, even though the configuration of my house is a little bit unique because it's L-shaped. It's not a big giant rectangle, but nonetheless, the wiring issues and using having the wrong equipment for the job and not having it wired in such a way to eliminate noise in the line, and some of the other things that I've learned from hanging out with you. The typical homeowner right now who has to work from home, they've got meetings on Zoom or whatever, Microsoft Teams or whatever they're using. And the kids are on their Google Classroom at the same time, because that's what's happening now. We had a break over the summer and everything kind of, the stress in the house and the stress on the system, dropped a little bit. Well, now it's back, right? So what are some things that people can do to relieve, so you're talking about the people listening to this are business leaders, small business owners. They probably have kids. What can make their life better instantly? What ideas do you have?
Well, the first thing is, don't be in a rush to go out and buy new equipment. Even some of the, less advanced equipment or poor quality equipment could run much better. You really need to take, easiest thing you can do is get a direct connection from the street to the modem. That eliminates a lot of, instead of having somebody like me come in and search, which would be happy to run a home line. I call them a home run line for you, which just goes straight from the street to the modem. That would eliminate a lot of the troubleshooting, trying to figure out what it is. There's not a whole lot to watch on TV anyways, so getting rid of those cable boxes and, but it's not, it helps to just get rid of them, but you really need to seal those connections, because that's extra bridge tap. So even if you're just putting a barrel on the splitter from the line that you want to the line from the street, all that helps. One two-way splitter adds 3.5 decibels of noise to the system. So, you think about it, even just taking out that splitter going into your modem that's split from the wall right to the cable box, that helps you with some signals. Sometimes these digital signals, and especially the internet like that, 1 decibel of noise can be the difference between it working or not. So that's one of the first things that I would do. We do offer packages and advice and stuff like that further, how-to videos, how to set stuff up, that kind of stuff, after that. But, it really has got to start with the foundation and the system, clean line. Definitely don't rush out and go buy new equipment right away.
Right. And, you think about how many TVs you've got that are just like cable split, all over the place. And, of course, I think that my house was like close to 30 years old when I bought it. Right. And I've lived there. We've been here 16 or 17 years already. So like, that's a lot of time where people have not optimized the system. And of course, what's out there and available today is totally different. You're a big proponent of running things off of Wi-Fi, right? Running your computer off of Wi-Fi, your TV off of Wi-Fi, your phone, even things like Ring doorbells and things like it. There's all kinds of technology that didn't exist even 5 years ago that does now. That
even 3 years ago.
Yeah, even right. And just wait a few minutes, right? There'll be something new and cool that comes out for Christmas. So, if you think about to a lot of us common people, right? Not you're a super tech minded guy and you get this stuff, but a lot of us are like, can our Wi-Fi handle that? Don't I need to go and amp up to 200, 500 a gig? And you're like, you know what? I do everything on 100 meg, right? So just say more about what you really need.
So once you get past that first step, you will need to upgrade your equipment to something. Traditional routers and the stuff that you get from the cable company are only designed to run one or two things at once. Things like extenders only send or receive signal at a time. So when you have multiple devices and multiple people and everything connected to the internet, you will need to upgrade the equipment at a point. But it doesn't matter if you upgrade it. It's like the horse has to come before the cart in this situation, where it doesn't even matter, how good the equipment is that you're buying if you have that initial problem. And if you really need to, don't have the money to upgrade the equipment and you really need to get stuff running, we can go old school and go hardline, run an Ethernet cord from your modem, even if it's the one from the cable company. It actually functions fine as a modem, just not a router.
Right.
Run that to your computer that you're using, or have them, sit down right there by the computer. It won't work again if you have those other issues.
Right.
So everything kind of hinges on. So I'm just trying to, help people with, step by step, best bang for the buck, like what you can do. But yeah, nothing's gonna work unless you have that good.
And I'm chuckling a little bit here because that's kind of the situation that I had, right? We just kept throwing more things at a problem that the foundation wasn't there. So I'm going to wrap up this way. Mark, what you've shared, I'm sure, for you listeners, you're probably queuing up right now. Oh my God, what about my situation? I've got this. Is it okay for me to share that Facebook group that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So there's a Facebook group that Mark just set up called Central Connecticut Distance Learning. So it's on, you know how to go on to Facebook and search groups, put in Central Connecticut Distance Learning, because of course Mark's here in Connecticut. And the idea of getting
help anybody anywhere though.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, you want to be helpful. And so the idea of getting your questions answered, go to that group and ask your questions there. And Mark, you're in there and you're finding what questions and pain point people are having. And, as a result, people are getting help, which they don't normally have, because who wants to call the cable company and be on hold for an hour with someone who's overseas?
If you're lucky. We actually also have, I just want to say real quick too, we also have tutors, I try to get educators, tutors, anybody that can help, other tech people, you know, if I'm not available.
Yeah.
Like I heard a troubling statistic that, you know, I actually started that group that night that, you know, 1 in 4 kids is being at minimum is being left behind. You know, that's not even counting the kids that were, it's ineffective, you know, for their education, that may be more visual learners or social learners, who really can't, you know, or not can't, I don't ever want to say can't, but, you know, that don't function well in an environment that distance learning has created. So I went out that night and I started the Central Connecticut. And, you know, it's for anybody and everybody, and any educators or people with experience, you know, in that are welcome to join. Tech people, and then of course, you know, parents can post any questions they want, and then most of the people there are available for one-on-one or, you know, video tutoring, and maybe limited, you know, social contact if needed, as well.
Right, right. Yeah, and you know, if you haven't picked up on it, Mark has a passion for helping people out, and you know, I love the support you've given us, and you're here. You are now giving support to our community. So, you know, last point, just Central Connecticut Distance Learning is the Facebook group. Go there, and you can ask Mark some specific questions. So, thank you again, Mark. So everyone watching today, thank you once again for being with us. We'll be back again in 2 days. That's what we do. We were here regularly. More revenue, more profit is the Facebook group. And it's also the website, morerevenuemoreprofit.com. We'll catch you again soon. Take care.